It is our favorite time of year. The weather is changing. We see the color on the leaves changing. We also know postseason baseball is around the corner. And unfortunately, even some football has to be played in Chicago. But one of the exciting things that is happening that you can see at a pond, at a gym, and in an arena is hockey is back, and the excitement of hockey in the city of Chicago is at an all-time. And over the last few years, we have seen some ups and downs in the city, but it seems like the uptick is coming. And our guy, Paul Chivari, hooked us up with such a wonderful guest today that's going to spotlight some of the amazing things happening in our hockey community here in Chicago. Joining us is the president of the Northern Illinois Hockey League, which is the largest youth hockey league in Illinois and the second largest in the United States. It's our friend, it's your friend, it's Bob Apter. Bob, how you doing, Bob?
Good. It's good to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So before we really get started with all the amazing things you guys are up to, the excitement level of a brand new season coming along, these new youths that are new faces, some of the old faces, and even in the pro level that you're seeing some new and old faces. How excited is this time of year for you guys?
This is a very good, exciting time of the year for us. It kicks off in September when we get the final team declarations and they place them in the divisions. And then it culminates with a little 6 to 8 week seeding round where we see if the clubs actually put their teams in the right spot. And then it gets really busy and really exciting end of October, beginning of November, where we take the teams and put them in the place where they actually belong for those that misseeded them.
So as we get ready, as we're kind of putting everything in a structured and organized, and you're starting to see the parents, the student athletes, and even like some of the pros that are coming and going and that help with this. And we'll get into what the Chicago Blackhawks are an amazing project they're doing with you guys. But the NIHL, the way that you guys connect to the community, how important is it to maintain that connection with the entire Chicagoland and the state of Illinois and the surrounding areas, being such a large organization? How important is it for you guys to constantly making sure that you're connected with these families and with the community as a new season is approaching?
I think it's very important because we strive to make sure that every player, no matter how good, top level, or if you're just a beginner that just is starting travel hockey for the first time, has a competitive place to play. So we try and put them so every game is close and every game is fun, because our goal is to keep the kids so they enjoy it. It's a good experience and they keep playing. We deal mostly with the clubs. There's 51 organizations in our league spanning from 6 different states. And we deal mostly with the club level people. Occasionally we do get emails and we do run into parents at the rink, but most of our dealing is with the top or level organizations. So they decide, because as you can imagine, with close to 5,000 kids in the league, if every parent was emailing you, it would get very cumbersome. So we try and stick most of the communication with the select few from the clubs.
So we know communication is the key to everything, right? No matter what the business is, whether it's sports, whether it's tech, whether it's video games or anything in between, right? We know communication is a big thing. How important is it when you're dealing, especially with such a mass number of people, and then you're delegating between these clubs to stay ahead of the curve of things that are changing, whether it's in society or in the sport? How important is that for you and the entire team to make sure that you're staying with the trends, that you're staying with what the sport is evolving to, what kids like to do these days? How important is that as one of the functions for the entire team over at the NIHL?
It's an interesting question you ask, because not many people ask that. What we've actually done the last few years is we've sent out surveys to clubs to send out, and they get responses on what people like and don't like. And now then we try and make decisions on certain things. Girls hockey, for one, we've made a lot of decisions based on the feedback we've gotten from the players and the families and the clubs. Boys, mostly we make the decisions around where the competitive level would hit, what they would like to see, what changes they would like us to implement. And we try and make sure that we're hearing what the community actually has to say rather than forcing what has been done for the longest time down people's throats.
So how important was it? And we'll get into this amazing program that's going on now as the Chicago Blackhawks have announced their efforts to celebrate and enhance the youth hockey community in Illinois with a partnership with the Northern Illinois Hockey League to host their league championship at the United Center in February. And we'll get into how big of an event that's going to be. But is that an example of reading the room, talking to the people, seeing what the vibes are, and then having such a wonderful opportunity to work with this surging, the new exciting Chicago Blackhawks tenure and era. Was that one of those things where you just knew, hey, this is one of those moments, and this is the culmination of doing that research and being able to put ourselves out there and having that type of opportunity?
Yeah, we actually started this partnership about 6 years ago when people were talking about it. And we reached out and we've had a partnership with the Blackhawks, and they've been a sponsor of the league and sent Tommy Hawk and other reps, and they've sent alumni to our charity games and stuff. So they've actually been a good partner with us for about 6 years now. I think this is the 7th year going into it. With the COVID year, we all took a break, but this is the first year after several years of negotiations where we actually worked it out, where the championships at our top 5 boys levels and our top girls level will be February 18th at the United Center on NIHL Day at the United Center. And that we also have several more things coming down the pike that they're working on that we've sat in with meetings, and I think they're coming in January, but I can't mention all of them yet. But there is some more stuff they're working on to baseline the youth community. They're really trying to get involved and really enhance the experience for these kids. So we've developed a partnership where I think we're the closest one with them, and we've really developed it so that some stuff going down the line will really help enhance the experience for these kids.
Let's use that timeline for a second, right? That 6-year period, 7-year period, minus the COVID of the partnership with the Blackhawks. Have you noticed the excitement beyond just that organization, but it seems like the hockey community to really get the youth involved? We know youth hockey has always been the lifeblood of this sport, whether it's in Canada or across the sea and here in the United States. But does it feel like a renewed energy over the last few years to see this kind of even more immersiveness from the Blackhawks and these more opportunities? Have you noticed that trend happening where on your end?
Well, it started to turn probably about 2 years ago where the excitement started to come back, but obviously it really turned when they got the #1 draft pick. And I think every youth kid, you go to any rink and everybody's talking about Connor Bedard. So I really think that them getting the #1 has sped up the Blackhawk fever, as you will take it, and we'll see where it goes from there.
As president of this amazing organization, this amazing league, being the leader of so many amazing people, what gets you excited about these type of projects, about the future that you guys are trying to cultivate for these young youths, these young athletes and these clubs? What gets Bob excited about what the future holds for the NIHL and of course just youth hockey in general?
I think the growth of the sport is what gets me excited, and really trying to make it grow. As you know, hockey's a passionate game, and those involved in it are really become addicted to it. And I think it's had a stagnant growth for a few years in Illinois, and I really think trying to turn it around and really get back in on the grassroots with the Blackhawks should help spur growth again. And that's what's got me excited, is growing the game again. Also, I will say some of the other things that it doesn't necessarily involve the youth that really have me excited. About 4 years ago, we started a veterans ceremony at our championship games where we honored all the parents, grandparents, relatives that came to watch at our championships at Joliet. And we honored them before the game with a veteran pin. And the response we got in the thank you letters from the veterans and the families has just been amazing. That's been a really nice add on to the league. And the other thing that we've done the last couple of years, but we took last year off due to scheduling, is we've done a Wounded Warrior game for people from that were wounded. They have their own hockey club and they go around, and we have 2 championship weekends that span 20 plus games. And in the middle of it, on the second weekend, we try and put together a game where our top level will play a game against them, and we let them keep all the proceeds, and it's a charitable event. And I think stuff like that has really distinctively made a difference between us and I really say every other league in the country.
He's our friend. He's the president of the NIHL, the Northern Illinois Hockey League. He's Bob Apter, joining us for just a few more moments. And, I have my in-laws, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they've had 4 boys. 3 of them went through hockey, and they went through the club sports and they loved it. It's a grind for parents. I think any parents going through any sports with athletes that are actually into it is a grind for them. But for any family members, core families that are thinking about sending their son or daughter or their niece and nephew into this community, into this welcoming community, but a world that you're diving headfirst into. Any advice for families coming into this life that you would give them as a heads up to say, hey, you're going to have a lot of fun, but these are the things that you should look out for that will be coming to you for your new hockey families coming in?
I would say the number one thing is everybody's going to learn to play at a rink, and it's going to be probably their local rink, the rink near them, close by. They're going to make some friends there. They're going to learn to skate. If they decide to stick it out, it's because they had a good time. There are going to be several people that try and convince them to go somewhere else. And I would say I would be really leery of trying to leave where you learned to play the game for a few years, because as I've gone through the years, and I've noticed, and I have 4 boys that played going through this, you'll notice that people want the young kids to fill a need in their program is missing. And as soon as they get them, they're going to replace them as soon as they can. So if you feel like you really fit at home and you had a good experience and you learned to play, no matter what level it is, if it's a low level like bronze we call it, or an upper level which we call Premier Select, and you really like your group of friends and the group of parents and your coaches and instructors, really think hard about what people are selling you to leave where you learned to play the game.
What can a parent or a guardian what can they maybe not necessarily expect, but what are some of the disciplines or some of the attributes that these hockey players, these boys and girls, these people, these young persons that are out there playing this hard, grueling sport, what are some of the things that you tend to see them merge with after a few seasons of hockey playing there with their teammates? What are some of the attributes that these great athletes get?
I think they get lifelong friendships, and I think I will tell you, like I'm older. I went to high school. I went to college. I talked to maybe 1 or 2 of the guys that I went to school with, but I played hockey my whole life growing up, and I still talk to 3 dozen people that I played on a team with growing up, and all my friends. When I still talk to people I played with when I was 10. If you see somebody you played with when you were 12 out, it's still, hey, how you doing? What's going on? He's still involved with hockey. Hockey's like the community amongst communities, and it's a small world in hockey. And I like to say everybody knows each other, and those that you really enjoy playing with, you stick in touch with them more than a lot of people you went to school with.
Bob, I could do this all day. I know your time is super valuable, and we really appreciate you joining us here on the Sports Cubicle. He's the president of the Northern Illinois Hockey League. He is Bob Apter. And before I let you go, we have the United Center, the league championships at the United Center in February of 2024. You were talking about the Wounded Warriors, awesome event that you guys have going on. So we have the United Center event, the championships going on at the UC, the Madhouse on Madison in February. How excited are you guys about that? What can people expect? The awesome fans and clubs that are going to make that huge moment, and what are some of the other events people could look forward to that you could spill the beans on this early into the season?
Well, the February 18th is the exact date at the United Center. We finalized that. There's a video presentation that we do on all our championships with a light and laser show that's phenomenal. All the championships, the ones at Joliet, there'll still be 16 of them there, are still videotaped, so we're really excited about that. We are working on an all-star game, and I'm going to break the news to you. This is going to be the first year that we're going to have all-star games at the girls' levels, too. So we are working on that. Those will be set as soon as our regular season is set. That's when we set the date. So coming in November, we will have a date. Both will be sometime in January, but both will have all-star games. Vernon Hills will host the boys, as they have the past several years. And it looking like maybe we're going to have it at Evanston's rink for the girls.
That is amazing. That is some great news. And that is exactly what we were talking about earlier, right? Staying ahead of the curve, reading the room, feeling the vibes. And that is why, Bob, you are doing such a great job. The entire organization is doing a great job. And is this going to be open to the public at the UC? How is this going to work? Do you have those details yet? We would love to be able to get some of the fans.
It is definitely open to the public. I'm pretty sure it's going to be free, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And we are going to try and get as many people in there as we can. There'll be 6 games. I believe it's going to start around 9 a.m. and continue on throughout the day. And, I'll be there, and hopefully I run into several people there.
Well, Bob, I can almost promise you that the Sports Cubicle will be sending love and some bodies over there to check on the amazing athletes and the amazing work you guys are doing. This is so much fun. And that announcement, that breaking news of a girls' championship, the tournament is coming, baby. You know it's time. That is why Bob and the entire organization over at the Northern Illinois Hockey League are doing amazing work. He's the president of the NIHL. He's Bob Apter. Bob, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Sports Cubicle.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate the time.
We got more coming up next here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm Mike Mercado.